No, only one would be Aaron, and everybody else is good. Aaron, still a swelling and pain tolerance issue. Be reevaluated day to day, but as you can see, he's out there getting some shots moving around, which is always a positive sign, but be day to day.
Okay. This time of year, Coach, obviously everyone is trying to build towards the postseason, but at the same time stay healthy. How do you go about deciding when to practice, when not to practice? Because you had a couple of days where you could have theoretically done that, but you chose to give those guys the day off. How do you decide when is the right time at this point in the season?
A lot has to do with the game and, the minute load on certain guys and, with having Jalen out and Aaron out and other guys, Al had played some heavy minutes. You want to be conscious of that. And so it's a game by game thing, more strenuous game versus a blowout, obviously. And then days in between, you have a day off, but you got, 3 and 4 nights, you obviously want to take that rest. And so it's a balance for sure, getting the rest you need, but also staying sharp and also how you're playing. Honestly, that plays into it. And so if we're taking care of business and improving in the areas we want to, we can have some film sessions and kind of walk through things more so than actually get a live session. But it's tough at this time of year, coming out of All-Star break with 22 to really get on the floor and do as much as we'd like. So these sessions are important and the walkthroughs are crucial for us. And
you also have a few new players in the mix as well. And just when you're trying to acclimate them to what you guys are doing, what are some of the kind of, Ime Udoka 101 type stuff that you want to really get a hold of early on?
Yeah, it's a lot of individual talks, honestly, and one-on-one film sessions. We'll do what we do with the team, but to get them up to speed is similar to what we did when we were hit with the COVID situations where we did a lot of one-on-one and teaching as far as that. The film, throwing them in live game action, there's some things that they're going to be a little slower to get, but we like Daniel and all the young guys and Derek, and they're picking up things quickly. So they do have questions. We walk through stuff one-on-one with them quite a bit, but as well as the team walkthroughs.
After games like you had against Memphis and Brooklyn, just a lot of talk about how good you guys are now, and a lot of gassing up of some of the players, especially Jason, and now you're going to play Charlotte and Detroit. Just feels like this is prime letdown territory. How do you combat that between now and the game?
Yes, it's showing the importance of every game and not, playing to a level of competition. Certain matchups are going to garner more attention, but it's all for nothing if you give them back, against a certain opponent. So, looking at our games against Charlotte, we know how difficult they are, the pace they play with, and the problems they present. So, just our games against them this year have been extra competitive, and including the overtime, double overtime, or overtime early in the year. And so that's a dangerous team. We already know that. Detroit, and obviously just beating us before All-Star break, and they've been playing well, beat Atlanta the other night. So we can't get complacent at all with what we're doing. It's more so building and moving forward and not having any slip-ups.
This team has had a tendency to do that. This season, prior season, some of these players have. And a lot of the stuff that you're saying makes sense, but how do you get that through to these guys?
Look at this year, to your point, early in the year, some of the games that we lost against good competition that we really built leads, it felt like we played up to that level. And then some of the tough losses early, to your point, were similar to that. I would say more so look at the streak, 21-6, I think, in the last 27, the 9-game winning streak where we were taking care of business in the appropriate fashion. And so you look at that and say, come out with the proper focus, respect of your opponent, and handle your business. And so that's what you point to more so than anything, the progression throughout the season of early season losses against some lower teams and the wins in the way we won convincingly lately. Thanks.
You mentioned 21-6, obviously, over the last 27. I think that streak started right after the Knicks game where you guys lost on the buzzer beater, and you said you wanted to get more leadership. I guess, where has that leadership come from in the last 27 games, you think?
A little bit of everybody. I think myself and my staff and the players all took onus on what we were doing well and areas to improve. And to your point, I think that was the last time we had back-to-back loss, the San Antonio game right before that. We missed a layup at the buzzer and then gave up a 25-point lead against New York, and Barrett hits the game-winning 3. And so you know, as I've said all year, our guys are a great high character group that takes challenges. And so I challenged them to improve in those areas. And me and my staff looked at what we could do better to finish games or keep leads. And so we've all done it as a collective group. And to your point, I think everybody at that point was tired of losing those games when we played well enough to win and build that lead. And so we really looked at how we can improve in the fourth quarter. And we just talked to the team about it today, where we rank in fourth quarter offense compared to that point in the season. And I think we're number 1 overall, number 2, and we're at 28 in the first 39 games. So we've looked at areas to improve and kind of, like I've mentioned, specific or got very specific into our playbook and what works for us at the end of games.
Thanks.
Coach, got a Zoom question here from Mark Murphy, please. Thank you.
Hi, Ime. You guys have not only been able to put people away in the fourth consistently now with the last few games, but you've also had really strong third quarters coming out of halftime. What is the difference you just see in everybody's mindset in terms of just taking over games and executing?
One thing we've looked at in the last 3 games specifically, it felt like certain areas have hurt us, and that's in those games coincidentally have been turnovers that allowed Atlanta and Memphis and Brooklyn to hang around when we could have had probably a 15, 20-point lead in some of those games. And so it's small adjustments. And like I said the other day, we're going to adjust to those and clean up turnovers and offensive rebounds and things of that nature. So we really, zero into what can help us improve coming out of the third quarter. And we always talk about the first 5 minutes coming out, and, it's a reset, and it's just like the start of the game. And so coming out the focus there, we've been good in the third quarters and ending games as well. But we want to start off fast like we did during the winning streak. And that's, taking care of the ball, making teams beat us in the half court. And some of that has been self-inflicted. So I think our focus on that has been really locked in coming out of halftime.
Bobby Manning.
Hey, Ime, I got 2 questions. On that halftime point, I know you talk about showing film. Smart gave a speech during one of those half times, and really the last 3 games, you guys came out so well after halftime. What kind of things are you doing usually in the room during those periods? And second, Isaiah had some comments, Isaiah Thomas and Charlotte today, about how much he wanted to come back to Boston, and how he wished he had the opportunity to do that. Was there ever any conversations about bringing him in, and what really has gone on there in terms of his desire to come back and it not coming together?
Regarding coming out of halftime, it's a little bit of both. We give the players some time to talk amongst themselves, kind of decompress and take a look at what's going well and what's not going so well in the first half. And a lot of times that's where the leadership behind the scenes comes out. They're talking it out in there, and obviously I'm getting with my staff, and then we're showing them us getting very specific on the film as far as what we need to improve on. So those things, Grant Williams over here. Those things are areas that we can really zero in on. I think our focus has been great coming out. So it's a little bit of film work, a lot of discussion between both staff and players. And like I said, getting reset to come out like it's the start of the game. And regarding Isaiah, point guard was never really a position of need. Obviously trading Dennis and getting Derek back, that filled some of the hole. And obviously Peyton got more opportunity there. So with Marcus playing at the level he is, and Peyton getting the opportunity, and then Derek being able to do some, as well as Jason and Jalen handling quite a bit. Point guard was never really a position of need. It was some more so other positions. And you see, we filled those roster spots with other guys.
Thank you, Coach. We'll wrap it up right there.
Thank you.